Oh my god, guys, that Bachelorette finale has me needing emotional possibly therapy. I haven't felt this way since the Game of Thrones Red Wedding. That was bad. I mean, yeah, I still have to catch up. I'm stuck on like season 4 with that.
My belief in engagement is that engagement is marriage. Like I want to do it just as many times as I get married, which is hopefully once.
I don't know what to do. Is Peter ready for this? Does he want a marriage?
I don't know where to go from here, to be honest.
What did we just watch? What did we just witness? I mean, we left the last season, Peter and Rachel basically going over, doesn't want to propose, she wants a proposal, she wants a ring at the end of it. I've never watched the show before. This is my first time watching it, and possibly after what the heck I just witnessed, possibly the last. Why am I so invested in somebody else's love life? I felt like I just went through a really bad breakup. And I didn't. I have no idea what that was, guys. I have no idea what that was, but it was terrible. We start off with a live episode, and so I guess this is something like they're doing new. They're trying to mess with the format. The last that we left off, they're about to do Fantasy Suite.
And then just walk away because...
And then we just see them kind of go off into a rose ceremony, and oh yeah, there's Eric. Here she is at the rose ceremony saying that, you know, I want a proposal. I didn't come all this way to get a commitment. I want a ring. I want a proposal. So, you know, I'm thinking, and probably the rest of Bachelor Nation and anybody with half a brain is watching this thinking like, Peter's going home. And she sends Eric. I watched the show for Rachel. I found out, I was watching Nick on Dancing with the Stars, and, you know, I heard about Rachel. That would be interesting to watch. And she's a lawyer, she's intelligent, you know, so it was like, you know, I'm like, oh, I would love to see that, you know, who wouldn't? I thought it would be interesting. And she was the first African American to be on this show. I like her. I think my viewpoint has changed a little bit about her. It kind of shifts. But, you know, she has a habit of telling these guys that she's falling in love with them, and then she sends them home. Eric was no different. She tells him, oh, I think I'm falling in love with you. And she sends, you know, Eric home. And Eric, you know, we've loved Eric. Eric just always seems very happy. And even as he's getting eliminated, after an elimination like that, he still takes it in great stride. And it really, honestly, I think the only winner that came out of this show was Eric. Like, seriously. It was just Eric. By the way, that revenge beard, though. Like, Eric was looking kind of good, you know, in the live episode. Which, by the way, did anybody catch on how the beginning of the season it said Eric was from Miami? And then all of a sudden towards the, like, hometowns, he was all of a sudden from Los Angeles? I was a little confused about that. So, like, if any of you guys know what happened with that, leave a comment in the drop box. So, yeah, Eric gets eliminated. He gets sent home. And here comes Bryan giving Rachel a hug. And Peter is just standing there like, that's gotta be tough. Like, you know, women were different. We're made to be kind of, like, catty with each other. And, like, I still want him. I'm not that girl. Unless that dude is my husband, I'm not fighting for him. Like, I'm gonna have him. Like, I think Peter was feeling the same way. Like, he was just over it already. Like, Bryan came in with a game plan. Bryan executed the game plan. Bryan succeeded. Like, you know, and it just seems like, honestly, like, maybe he was always a step ahead of Peter. Like, he was, you know, always that step ahead. And in the beginning, it kind of started off where Peter was always ahead. Like, because remember when the guys are playing the handball game, and before the guys could even turn their heads, there was Peter right there. You know what I mean with her? So I don't know. You know, remember, guys, we only know what they show us. So whatever they don't show us, there's a lot of power in those producers' hands, because you can edit something and make it look like something completely different than what it actually is. And remember, perception is reality. Reality TV. No, but seriously, like, perception is reality. So, I mean, they could paint things to be out however they want. Maybe we got to go by what we actually see versus what we don't actually see. So, it's kind of like in the producer's hand. Love, for the first time, we actually see how vulnerable Bryan is, and it makes Bryan a much more likable guy. Like, because Bryan is Colombian and he is from Miami, and he's a chiropractor. So Bryan just seems to say all the right things at the right time. Like, I've dated that before. I think all of us girls, it was frustrating to watch because we've dated. Like, every girl has at some point or another dated the player. Like, we all know they come in with the perfect thing to say. They're selling you a fantasy. Like, the player is fun. Like, I don't know, the player gets a bad rap, but if you know you're dating a player, like, the player can be fun. Like, and you know, but for the first time, we actually start to see Bryan open up, and he doesn't come across as that player anymore. He looks like he's actually is human, and he's actually affected by the fact that this person that he has feelings for seems to be somewhere else in her head. And that was the first time they weren't you know, on the same page. It looks like, obviously, you know, she tells us that Peter is in her head, like she's thinking about, you know, she's confused about this decision that she has to make, which I don't understand. I didn't get that. But whatever. She's walking over. You see that she's ready. She's going to have this conversation with Peter.
I am going against what I believe to show you that I care about you so much that I will not lose you. I know what I'm saying. I know 100% what I'm saying.
Well, Rachel wants to reiterate and clarify what she means by that. You know, basically she's saying that an engagement does not mean that she's going to be married right away, and Peter's saying no. And I'm laughing because I think majority of the population would agree with Peter. I think she just didn't want to hear, you know, it was probably painful to hear, but what he's saying is basically whoever I propose to, that's who I see myself marrying. And that's, I don't think she was getting that. I think she, you know, I think with Peter, his thing was that he just wanted some time to clarify, you know, is she really the one for me? Is this somebody I could see myself marrying? And she just couldn't understand that. Like, it was so frustrating to watch them because you're basically saying the same things. And girls, like, if you've, you know, some of us girls, it's hard to watch because we've been there, right? Like, we've all, like, had that, where is this going conversation, and it's almost like you're trying to, I don't understand. I think that if two people really want to be together, then, you know, commitment should be, like, not an issue. I think that's how you know you're not with the right person, you know, if they're not willing to take that step. But I definitely think that this show is stupidly unrealistic. And what I've heard and from the research, yes, I researched the crap out of this show. Like, the producers were saying that realistically, these people probably, just because they're there for those 2 months does not mean they're spending time with each other. So realistically, they really have gotten to know each other over a period of like 75 hours. Yeah. I'm not really trying to pick a spouse after knowing you for 75 hours. My perspective of like why I think Peter might have held back, that I'm gonna get into a little bit later, but I'm not gonna do a recap by recap. I'm not gonna do a play-by-play recap because honestly the internet is flooded with that right now, and my ADD is just not gonna let that happen. You guys are gonna end up frustrated, I'm gonna end up frustrated, and 2 hours would have gone by of you watching me, which is probably, I don't know, it's not that entertaining. We pick up, they're having this conversation, you know, and then we're just seeing Peter getting frustrated. And there's one thing I know is that when you push a man, because Peter is, that is a man. That is your man's man, okay? Guys, I mean, guys, girls, if you don't know, a man's man is a man. He is your alpha male. This is a dude that when he walks in, dudes want to be him and girls want to date him. So this guy is the epitome of an alpha male. He's a personal trainer. So you notice, and we're watching her like kind of push for what she wants, you know? And I'm like, he's alpha, you're pushing him. This is not going to end good. And we hear Peter say, you know, fine, I don't want to break up with you. And if that's, you know, if we're not doing this, we're not breaking up, like, this is not a breakup. And she's like, well, you don't know what you want to do. And he's like, well, then fine. Peter was my dude when he, like, because we're not getting no clarity in this. And this is kind of going in circles. So Peter throws it back at her. Peter, you should probably go to law school. Peter throws it back at her, you know, and is like, can you honestly sit there and say that you think I am the man that you see yourself being with forever? Dead silence. And she's like, no, you know, which that really brought up a lot of red flags to me, because I kind of felt what could have been some of the questions, like, of that Peter probably had, like his doubts that he probably had with not wanting to go full, because I wouldn't want to commit to somebody. I want to commit to somebody that I just watched you buy a watch. You just gave this guy a $20,000 watch. You're wearing that $20,000 watch. You guys look like a couple, and I'm looking like an idiot. You know what I mean? And I think, you know, Peter, I think it's obvious. I don't care how good of an actor or model he is. It's very obvious that the guy had feelings for her. And it's also very obvious that he just does not want to move forward with this. That he can't see himself doing this. And I think that watch had a lot to say with that. And the fact that she couldn't answer that question makes me think that, what were your intentions? If you can't see forever with this guy, so one or two things. Either A, you don't care who you end up with, you just want a ring because you're so obsessed with that. And hey, I hear a lot of women, and I guess as they get older, they get a little desperate for that. So I get it, you know, and that's her choice. She has the right to choose that. Or I think that she wanted something she couldn't give back, you know? Like, I think it's kind of messed up how people feel like, oh, it's a guy. But guys go through rejections too. Like, I don't want to be rejected. Like, you know, I'm going to propose to you and you're over there in love with Bryan. Like, he doesn't know that. You know, that's probably what he's thinking. So, anyways, those were my point of view. I mean, those are just some of my theories, my perspectives, you know, may or may not be accurate. So, who knows? So we're hearing them have that conversation. Peter throws it back at her. She can't answer. And then he's frustrating. He's like, well, what are you going to do? I can't answer that question either. Are you going to walk away and just have, you know, and have a mediocre life?
What does that mean I have to have?
Because I will give you an amazing life.
Peter did not just say that. All right. Again, I'm a Sagittarius. We tend to like kind of bite our tongues a lot, and we do put our foot in our mouth a lot. But when you hurt us, we know where it stings. Like, we know what to say to make that sting. And he definitely, like, that is probably gonna be the Bachelorette line of a lifetime. Like, it was kind of awesome. I kind of hate that he went into interviews and kind of was like, oh, I was in the moment. Like, he should have just owned that. Like, yeah, you're gonna have a mediocre life because I wanted to give you an amazing life, and you know, you pick Bryan. So anyway, I always thought that Peter looked really good with Rachel. I think that's why we were so, I mean, I don't know how people watch these shows like all the time, because you become emotionally invested. I feel like I was dating Peter and Dean and Eric, and it's just like, I don't even know these people. What's going on in my life? Anyways, I thought they looked really great together. Because Rachel has said that she went in there ready with a game plan that she was going to dump him. Because she knew since Geneva that he was not the one for her. That there was some deep-rooted issues. I don't know how true that is. Remember, guys, we only know what they show us. So, anyways. So she's sitting there, and it was really hard to watch. Like, you know, the ending of that is basically they break up, you know, and I love Peter for sticking to his guns and being like, this is what marriage means to me, and I don't want to compromise on that. There is no compromising on that, you know, and I think it's because he was so clear and he was so sure. I like to look at what people don't say. I very rarely look at what people say, and it's kind of like an annoying thing that I do to people, because they're always like, well, I didn't say that. And I'm like, but you didn't have to. You know, a lot of times what you need to depict from something that somebody says is what they don't say. And, you know, there's a lot of things that Peter wasn't saying, but was saying. You know that thing, that silence can be so loud. Yeah, with Peter, I feel like that applied times 10. And so she says that she feels like she was manipulated, that he was stringing her along, that he always gave her just enough. Now, I agree and disagree with this because I feel like, girl, this was called the Bachelorette. This was not called the Bachelor. Basically, you're running the game. You're running the show. It's your show. You truly feel like this person didn't have good intentions or that they're stringing you along. Send them home. I think we were all wondering after Eric's departure, why is Peter Cross still on the Bachelorette? Like, you want a ring, he doesn't want to give you the ring. Like, at this point, is it that you're trying to overpower him? Is it that you're trying to like get him to bend so that you can dump him because your ego was hurt? Like, I'm seriously like curious, like, what was the point of bringing him all the way to the end? And he wasn't, ready. Eric was ready. Eric had asked her mom's hand in marriage. He was ready to commit to her. He was ready to give her a ring. So I really didn't understand why send Eric home and keep Peter. And even Eric in interviews has said that he was confused and absolutely baffled by it too, because he thought for the first time he was safe. And apparently in Bachelor world, no one's safe. It's the world where it doesn't make sense. Peter, I just think you're on the wrong show, buddy. Like, apparently you could think for yourself and you're willing to stick to your guns, which, as a fellow Sagittarius, I love you. I love that. I love a person that, like, yeah, I know these are the rules, but they're not enforced 1,000% because nobody said he had to give a ring. And I think, he stuck to his guns. He wasn't willing to compromise. He knew this wasn't the girl for him. Or maybe he just needed more time, because I do think it's a little insane. 75 hours that you actually spend with these people and you're supposed to make them your spouse. And everybody knows, yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. That's a little, I think, not realistic. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I think it was just, I don't know if that he was on the wrong show, because again, like I said, I don't know how the nature of these shows work. It's the first time I've ever watched it, but you gave Homeboy a $20,000 watch and you wore the same watch. She didn't give anybody anything else. And guys, how many times were we gonna watch her take him to church? Like, I don't know. Like, is she hoping the Holy Spirit will like convict them, or she'll be convicted, or like, I never understood that, because she took Dean to church, and then here we are watching her take Peter to church. It's a little, like, that's a little weird. Like, and and even the pastor was like telling her, well, the priest, because it was a Catholic church, was telling her, like, look, you shouldn't be so focused on the little things. And I think he was looking straight at her, and I think it was talking about the ring, that she wanted a ring. But I think, like, whatever. Point is, they end up breaking up. Was that even a breakup? I don't even know. I don't know what that was. Like, he's crying. She's crying. By the way, there's nothing worse than when I watch a man cry. Like, and we're just watching him be broken, and then they swipe to the live show, and there he is backstage, balled up in a fetal position, on some stoop. And he comes out and he's shaking, and he says he's shaking, and he says he's rattled up, and I just felt terrible. Like, after we just watched that intense going back and forth, and he's like, I will do this for you. Like, I will compromise my beliefs and propose to you. And then she's like, well, will you regret it? And he's like, well, I would hope not. Like, I'm a grown man. Like, I'm choosing to make this decision, so just take it, And I mean, I think any girl that would take that at that point would be kind of stupid. Like, he's clearly in his feelings. And he tells her, go and have a mediocre life. And then, her lashes are there on the floor. She cries her lashes off, which I thought was kind of funny. I was like, he's like, yeah, her lashes were on the floor, so I had to relive that every single time I walked by her lashes. That was awkward. That was weird. Because I thought her lashes were way too huge. Like, they were ginormous. Like, it was distracting. There's a lot of things that was distracting on The Bachelorette, and that was one of them. Her ginormous lashes. So yeah. So anyways, those lashes were distracting. You know, we're watching. Then she, you know, tells him like, "This is the wrong show for you. I don't think you should." Like, her body language was just so. It was very uncomfortable to watch. It was very uncomfortable to like watch that breakup in that setting. It was so intense, so much emotion, so much feelings, you know. She's crying, he's upset, and he's very adamant that he does not want to break up. Like, you know, he says it a few times. He's like, "I don't want to lose you. Like, I really don't want to lose you. That's how I know I want you in my life, because I don't want to lose you." And I think, again, it goes back. He doesn't say it, she doesn't say it, but I think Bryan, you know, watching somebody that you care about kind of frolic with the other guy is like, let's be for real. How often do you think that happens to Peter? You know, like, do you think Peter comes up in life second place very often? You know, he probably goes for a girl and gets her. He's not. That doesn't happen to him. So I think it took a lot at his ego, and it took a lot at his pride. These people, guys, you gotta understand, they don't have cell phones. They don't have books. They don't have anything to distract themselves. It's like prison. I thought of the idea for this show. They don't have anything, and you got a Sagittarius man who all he has time to do is get in his own way and overthink things, because that's what we do. We overthink things to death, where we end up with paralysis by analysis. Like, I had a nickel for every time that happened to me. I'd be rich. So yeah, it was really like, it was really hard watching that. I felt like I didn't have closure, and then fast forward to the cam, and there they are on the sofa, and there's, you know, Peter like shaking, and this is a man. I feel like she just took. It was hard. It was like kind of watching Dean. Like, you took Dean, this beautiful man. Okay, because Dean is beautiful, guys. Like, Dean for Bachelor 2018. Like, he is beautiful. Like, every essence, his soul, like his smile, his eye. He looks like Ken from Barbie and Ken. Like, who else thought that? And he just has like such a beautiful spirit, and he's just such a gentle soul. And I could go on forever about Dean. You guys already know he's my favorite. But it was kind of the same thing, like watching Peter be, you know, like him or not, you've got to say that the man has a certain composure, certain demeanor, that just watching him just be like, it's really hard to watch. I didn't cry. I cried when they eliminated Dean, though. That was tough. I just didn't watch. And I like seeing my baby get hurt. Like, I didn't want to see him get hurt. Like, he's just too sweet. He is way too sweet to get hurt. But watching Peter like that, and she just had no compassion, no empathy whatsoever. She was just like, you should not be the Bachelor. Like, you are not the queen of the universe. You are the Bachelorette. You are not the queen of the universe. Like, chill. Calm down. It kind of sucks that they did the playback right there with her sitting right there, because she's got to relive all these emotions. Remember, it's been about 6 months since time has elapsed, since they've been on the show, since they broke up. They hadn't seen each other. She completely cut him off, which I always advocate. Go cold turkey. You don't have to hear anything they have to say. I'm not taking really sides. I love to play the devil's advocate. I love to see things from both perspectives, because I think both sides had very valid points, you know? And at the end of the day, it just was two people that just wanted different things, you know? And that's why I think to truly be happy, you shouldn't have to compromise, because that kind of sucks. So that is what it is, you know? Take that with what you want. So we see Peter on the couch, and he's just broken, and he's saying he feels attacked. I understood how, in his situation, with his mindset, with everything that just happened, how he could feel that he was being attacked or targeted, because, you know, there was a lot of hate mail going towards Peter. But I don't know. Like I said, then Bryan comes out. Bryan has the proposal. Guys, how anticlimactic was that ending? Like, we all knew she was going to pick Bryan. It was not a surprise. Yeah, by the way, thank you to all the people on my Facebook who killed the finale for me, because I always watch The Bachelor the next day on Hulu. So a couple of you people killed that for me. Miami, because they want Bryan. I don't know, I don't find Bryan that cute. Just doesn't do it for me. at all. Dean is my guy. Like, I don't know if I'm drinking Bryan's Kool-Aid. So, you know, but they seem very happy. I wish them the best. I hope that everything turns out well for her and that it does work out. And I hope that Peter is able to find peace and that they're all... I kind of... Honestly, you want me to blame somebody? Probably the show. Like, the show didn't make anybody look good. The show didn't make Rachel look good. The show didn't make Peter really look that great. The person that came out on top of all of this was Eric and Dean. Which Dean doesn't count because he didn't make it to the final 3. But Eric, you the MVP. Eric for Bachelor? Possibly? Maybe? I don't know. I feel like he's grown. I feel like he's definitely in a good place that, you know, maybe he's ready to settle down. So I feel bad for him, whereas before I wasn't liking him very much because I did think he was trying to use Rachel. Look, guys, none of us can say that we watched that series and never cringed when she would say, "Kiss me." She would, like, kiss him and he has, like, his arms by his side. Like, I don't care what your love language is. Like, body language is body language. Like, when you're into somebody, you're into them. And when you're not, you're not. Like, I don't know. Call a duck a duck. Like, if it quacks, it's like a duck. It's like therapy. This was great. You don't understand. Like, it's been, like, 6 months of, like, who does she pick? Because from the beginning, we knew there's this blogger named Reality Steve, and he predicts the winners. So we're all, like, trying to find out, like, who does she pick? Who does she pick? Is it Bryan? Is it Peter? Like, who is it? And the way that they edited it kind of looked like we were going to get a different ending. Like, because I felt like in my gut, in my heart of hearts, no matter what, that she was going to go with Peter. Like, you know, because it seemed like with Bryan, there was, like, lust. And it seemed like with Peter, like, it could be love, right? But girls, what do girls normally pick? Lust. Flesh, 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 flesh. I was hoping to get a different ending. That it's, you know, kind of alluded to that we might get something different, but we didn't. So, a lot of people are disappointed. I'm gonna need therapy. Like,
I couldn't find having withdrawals in your music.
Oh my god. Sorry. Shh. This might be like a new thing that I do now, which I recap shows or just start a channel. I started this channel, so this was definitely cool. I needed closure. Peter, you didn't need closure. I needed closure. Like, was that a breakup or was that not a breakup? Like, I just don't understand. I just didn't get it. Like, why? Just why? Like, love should you know, I think why we're so frustrated. If we felt like Bryan was her true love, we would all support that decision. But it's that fact that we feel like, what could have happened with Peter? Like, Peter could have been true love. And, like, if you're watching The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, I'm assuming you're a hopeless romantic. So, who doesn't like to see love conquering all? But what happened with love is just not enough. It's just not enough. Like, we end up with the ending that we got. It is what it is. So, Rachel and Bryan, congratulations. I wish you guys a lifetime of happiness. And Peter, I hope you find that peace. Or that girl that's willing to court you. I will watch Peter court a girl for 7 years. Or 20. I'll watch it. Why not? And Dean, my phone number is... Dean's my favorite. Favorite! So yeah. So guys, like, how did you feel? Do you feel like you got closure at the end of that? Like, what do you wish they would have done differently? What do you think about some of my theories? Like, do you think Bryan really affected Peter? Or do you think Peter was just trying to win the Bachelor the whole time and he was just playing Rachel? Because we know what it's like to be stringed along. It's not fun, guys. It's not a fun game that you play. Like, be straight up. Like, be honest. But what I have to say to that defense is that it was called The Bachelorette. It was not called The Peter Show. So, Rachel had full authority to kick his ass off the show. It was a choice. Like, it was a choice. That was her choice. And now to be bitter about it, it just sort of really poor character. And makes her look... You know, it paints her in a negative light, and that's the last time we're really going to really see her, and we're all going to have that bad taste in our mouth, and nobody likes to see somebody else hurt. Her PR should have talked to her about that, because nobody likes to see anybody crying. It's never a good look. But yeah, guys, like, what are your theories? And who's gonna watch Bachelor in Paradise? I haven't decided if I'm gonna recap Bachelor in Paradise, mainly because I'm not trying to watch Dean frolic all over a beach with random girls. I mean, I'm just not. Like, in my eyes, Dean is a saint and he is an angel from heaven. And yeah, I'm not trying to watch that. Watch it. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But yeah, so guys, leave a comment, recap. Oh, by the way, make sure you subscribe, and if you like this recap, share it, leave a comment below. Follow me on my Instagram or Snapchat, and I will hear from you guys again.